We are Carrie and Josh. We are sharing things that, in our experience, worked for us and could also work for you.
So I'm outside on this wonderful, warm, 80-degree late September day. And I'm going to start my MAF update for the week by just throwing out there, I want $1 million. Now, if you read the blog and you look at the results, you'll understand why I'm going to start with that. Because last week I said, oh, it's the same old, and I was griping because it was all my paces were exactly the same the second week as they were the first. You know, I was hoping for maybe like even a second or 2 or 5 seconds of pace improvement from the first week to the second week, and I got nothing. So the reason I'm throwing out, I just want $1 million, is since I crabbed about that or wished for some progress. Boy, I saw a ton of progress this week. I couldn't believe it. In fact, every time I finished a run, I kept wondering if my GPS watch was really off. But when I looked at the maps, every first mile was where the first mile was, second mile, because I am out there running my church loops as I run around and around and around and around the neighborhood. People in the neighborhood have to start wondering what in the heck I'm doing, because I'm going by their house 4 or 6 times, depending on those long runs. But to put the runs in perspective, I'm not going to list off all the paces. You can go check out the blog for that. But I will tell you, somehow I ended up with exactly the same amount of mileage for the week, 20.2 miles. This week, I ran those miles in 9 minutes less. That's crazy. All of my paces are down super low, like my long 7.5 mile run had been at about 8:16 to 8:20 for a pace. This week, granted, it was not on the bike trail that we've gone on, but it was in a similar flat area with just little hills. But it was about 7:30. I can't even remember it off the top of my head, but it was like 7:37. It's just crazy how the change was. Now, the weather was way better this week. I love this weather. Nice and cool, nothing hot. So we'll see going into next week if the results stay up or if there's a little dip. Because I saw the 80s and actually middle 80s are coming back for this week. But man, I'm really excited to see where this goes, and that'll lead in if you check out the words of wisdom at the end. Alright, so my intent today was to have another different adventure to show you for the Saturday 7.5 mile long run. But we ended up with some plans and somebody home by themselves for a little bit, so I did my typical loop that I've been doing around. I think we'll start to call it the church loop, as I run past the Moravian Church and Trinity Church and St. Joe's Church. And for 7.5 miles, that was running past them 6 times on the loop. So it gets a little tedious without a change in scenery, but put some good music on. And today I actually had to bring out the long sleeves. It is a bit chilly in the 40s, and that first mile was a lot of jumping in the heart rates. I'm wondering if, because I did my strength stuff this morning, took 2-hour break and then went for the run, if that had something to do with it, that my body was just having trouble getting going again. But it was a lot of stop and starts for the first mile, and then after that I settled in. And boy, I complained last week that I wanted some results to happen and I wasn't trusting the process. So this week's words of wisdom is going to be trust the process, because I've been going about 8:15 to 8:20 for 7.5 miles. According to the GPS, I'm going to have to trust it, but I keep questioning it. Is at about 7:38. So we just get some nice foliage here in the backyard as I got home on this nice Saturday. So we'll see. We'll try to branch out and get some adventures going. after soaking overnight, we end up with the dough and our lovely pizza chef. Doing your favorite part right now?
You know, it always turns out. Let's just put it that way.
Looks just a tiny bit putsy.
It's not that bad though.
We'll show you the finished product right before I stuff it in my face. And then we have the finished product. Tonight's feast de resistance, a barbecue chickpea pizza. Yummy. For the workout of the week, I'm going to show off my Rolga roller. This thing is amazing. They are retailing now for $49.99. This one was purchased many years ago. I can't even remember how many. And got it for $20 at a race when they were just starting out. And the guy told me, boy, this is the hard one. The guy, you know, a car could roll over this and it won't lose its shape. And I thought, yeah, right. The only bump in this thing at all is by the logo. There's a little spot that I think is just an indent from the logo. Otherwise, I've used this thing like crazy. It's the hard one. It hurts a little bit, but man, it's kept its shape. Plus, if you're looking for something, these little bumps are fantastic for rolling your spine. It's like going to the chiropractor. It sounds like popcorn when you get it right. So I like to use this one. We're going to shift it a little bit. I like to use this one. Just put the leg right on there and roll the leg. You can roll the sides. It really works to get the knots out. And I use it in the mornings before I go out for a workout. And it's kind of a good warm-up. It just kind of softens everything up if I've got anything that's tight. Even though kind of with this MAF stuff, my legs have been feeling great. The low heart rate has kind of helped my body recover a lot better. So if you're in the market for a foam roller, definitely check out Rolga. I know it's a little more expensive than what I bought it for, but man, it's worth the money. You're not going to go through these very much. They're fantastic. As you're watching through the video, you've already seen that the results happened this week, week 3. And I promise that this was going to be the words of wisdom before I saw the results. So the words of wisdom this week were going to be, and still are, trust the process. Now, the reason that was the plan was because I felt bad for griping and complaining that I didn't see any results. And I even knew that going in. I knew that this was supposed to be, you know, kind of log the miles for the first 3 to 4 weeks. And when you get back to that test 1 month in and you do another MAF test, then you should see some results. So going into this week, I had already got my mindset going that I was going to trust the process and put in the work and see what happens. And wow, can't wait to see. I hope this continues, and I just know now I just still have to keep in my mind that it's a process, and especially if the temperature's change and it gets a little warmer, that affects the heart rate, and those times will change a little bit, and I might not go down in time again. I might go back up a little bit, but that this is a process. And it was nice to get that little nugget of results this week to keep me pushing forward and get me really excited to see the times and see what I can do. So trust the process, especially in this world we live in where it's, you know, everything's posted on social media. And yes, I know I'm posting this on social media, but everybody wants instant results. How many likes am I going to get on Facebook? Or how many people are going to click on my link or see what they're going to see? And I'm guilty of it too. When I post stuff, I want to see if people are actually reading it and if it's a worthwhile experiment for me to put out there for people. But just trusting the process. And it works for school, it works for exercise, it works for so many different things. We can't just go for instant results. If you're trying to lose some weight and you go on one of these crazy diets, that's why we have yo-yo diets, because people try something, oh, it worked, and then they stop, or they go back to the way they were and go right back up. So trust the process and have a wonderful week. Enjoy the Minnesota fall. And that's a little of my experience.